Good evening. Welcome to A Scene for the Living World of Darkness, Changeling 20th Anniversary Edition, A New Hope, which still makes me think of a Star Wars movie. In this scene, we're going to focus it in on a bar, just some sort of random bar somewhere near the Shining Host, but not the Shining Host, because Donna's having issues trying to make herself go there, even though she kind of wants to and she kind of doesn't. And in the end, settles for having flown in with her two companions, landed in a tree, basically waits till nobody's looking, and then will hop down from the branches of the tree, kind of shaking off any dried leaves or twigs that might have attached to her. And she will eventually end up in said bar, which I'm going to say is kind of a middle of the road kind of place. Neither fancy nor, rough, just a middle of the road kind of place. You can get wine or you can get the cheapest of beers. Take your choice. And she will make her way into the bar. Now, being officially short, first of all, the bartender, I'm sure, believes that she's some kind of child and will insist on an ID, which she then produces. And she's 4'8", for the record. The bartender gives it a couple of extra looks before handing it back and asking her what she wants. To which she promptly replies with some sort of really, really dark ale that's kind of bitter. And he gets it for her, one kind of giving weird looks. And meanwhile, she's climbing, sort of having to climb a little to get on top of the bar stool up there. And she's sitting there. The two owls on her shoulder, one Rowlet and one Hedwig, will sort of hop off to be off in whatever corners of the room that they feel like being in, because they're Chimera. They can be wherever they want. And yeah, she will sort of just sit at the bar, actually, kind of quietly staring at this drink dubiously for a little bit before taking a drink and making a terrible, terrible face. And then taking another drink, making another terrible face. And then she'll get out her phone and kind of idly play with it as if distracting herself. And that is where I'm going to let you do something besides me.
So the door of the bar opens and in walks I wouldn't say overdressed young woman. I would say more, she's dressed much more than going out to a bar requires. She is wearing, torn jeans, a leather jacket that's, probably a bit nicer than it looks, a bit more expensive. It's one of those artfully ragged jackets that you can find in like hipster places. Dark eyeliner. She's wearing the big old ring that she has in the picture. And to those who can see chimerical reality, she's got this massive set of horns, curling back from her head, right, and just curling out right to next to her ears. And she has a pair of goat legs. And she enters the bar, looks around, kind of squints at the corners of the bar, like she's looking for someone in specific, before she makes her way up to the bar and orders some very cheap beer, not name brand, like off-brand beer, and sitting down coincidentally right next to Donna.
Probably not such a coincidence, because there aren't too many Fae out there, so when you run into another one, but yeah. Because, even from behind, you can see that she's, like her hair is kind of feathery, and just the fact that she has a Fae man at all, really. Yeah. But when from the side, then if, because I'm sure she would have noticed him or her, I don't know what I said him for, I'm sure she would have noticed her like sitting down. She has these really big kind of golden owl eyes. You know, they're like just they're somewhat bird-like, and it is changeling eyes flaw. So I forgot to roll to see if she'd remembered her contacts today. So we're going to say she didn't. And yeah, she'll just kind of sort of slowly turn her head after making a face at the drink for the 1,000th time. If she's only been here 2 minutes, and she's made 1,000 faces. And she'll just kind of blink for a second as she sort of just, sort of does that nod of acknowledgement.
The woman will look at her, blink slowly, and then nod back and say, I don't think I've seen you around before.
Well, you should have. I'm here all the time. I'm here all of the time. Every day, 24 hours a day.
Well, I suppose that means I should have seen you, yes. My name's Anastasia. Anastasia Willow.
It's good that you introduce yourself to me, because I am very, very important. And she'll hold out a hand, her right hand, because you can see the other one is clearly that sort of steampunk prosthetic. And she'll hold out her right hand and say, Donna Shizhik.
Sorry.
It's okay. She would have just said Donna Shizhik.
Okay. So she'll reach out her hand, shake Donna's hand. A pleasure to meet you. So you said you're very important. What makes you so important around here?
Well, you see, what it all boils down to is that I'm the mayor.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't recognize you. And she smiles.
She shrugs. Not many do. I usually have somebody else stand up for me. Most people don't notice me because I'm just too short to be noticed, and they look right over me.
Well, I'm sure that has its benefits from time to time.
Maybe. It's also a little annoying.
I can see how that would be annoying.
I haven't seen you either, though. Do you live around here?
Here and there. Kind of transient, I suppose you could say. I've been busy. Just got done with, I guess you could say, learning the ropes.
She ponders this for a second. Oh, so you're barely legal.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it.
Legal is legal, I suppose.
That is the definition of it, yes. She winks.
I am, in fact, the wisest of owls.
And amongst a group known for their wisdom, that must be quite a distinction.
Indeed. I am actually the Prime Minister.
Do you lead the parliament, then?
I do lead a parliament. Absolutely. I lead every parliament.
And she nods. It's just that very sage, like, I see sort of nod. And she goes, that must be very stressful.
Oh, no, not at all. It's helpful when everybody trusts you.
And she takes a sip of her beer and says, Well, that's good, I suppose. You can't really lead if nobody trusts you.
She just kind of grins for a second, and she's going to pull out her phone and like type in, because I've done this out on my phone before. I know that what will come up. A group of owls is called and then it comes up. You know how the search thing comes up with its own options, and it comes up with parliament. Mm-hmm. So she says that she will do that and then flip it around so that Anastasia can see, to kind of explain what she was actually referring to.
She looks and she nods and says, "I see," and then
she'll hold up her Sorry, I was just gonna say she's gonna hold up her left arm, and the two owls will both fly over and sit. Then they'll kind of land in front of Donna and say, "See, a parliament."
And she nods and says, "I'm very pleased to meet you. Who might these members of your parliament be?"
Well, as she points to Rowlet, this one is clearly Dusseldorf. And this one, as she points to Hedwig, is nobody of consequence, but I call him Snow.
And Anastasia just inclines her head to both owls and says, "Well met, both of you."
And she looks at the owls almost apologetically as she does this. Meanwhile, Rowlet is kind of going, "Rowlet?" And and then she kind of blinks and she's like, "Or you could call them Hedwig. And maybe Rowlet. They kind of might prefer those."
I see. It is always best to use one's preferred name.
Only if that's who they are.
But what if one has a preferred name that is both who they are and who they are not? Like a celebrity.
Then it sounds like something that someone like me would have a field day with.
And she chuckles. That sounds pretty accurate.
We all have names. We all have different names. There's some we choose, some we don't. Some are given to us.
And some we'd rather forget, I suppose. There's always that one ex-boyfriend who had, pet name for you, then you had the bad breakup, and she dismissively waves her hand.
I suppose. I guess I really hadn't thought about that. Maybe I just haven't run into that boyfriend yet.
That's a good thing. Such boyfriends are not the preferred person, I should say.
Well, Anastasia, if we're going to talk about even making reference to things that are clearly not visible to other people, as she sort of averts her eyes towards the two owls, maybe it'd be better if we went over there. She points to a table like in the corner.
That'd be a good idea, yes. As she picks up her beer and heads over there.
Donna also picks up her rather nasty stout, at least nasty to her. It's one of the problems of being a puka. You never get what you actually want because they always ask you, "What do you want?" So she has exactly what she does not want. But she brings it with her anyways, and the two owls follow. And she'll eventually get over there, and it'll be easier for her to get into a normal chair as compared to a stool, which is a little taller.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Sort of settles into a chair and just kind of sits back and watches Anastasia.
So she will sit down in her chair and she will take a sip from her beer and lean back and say, "So I hear there's been a lot of drama lately in the streets."
You'd have to define what kind of drama you mean. I mean, we all do tend to be of the dramatic sort.
That's true. But I was hearing rumors of very angry, festively dressed men up in Manhattan.
Her face immediately just falls, if you know what I mean. Like, there's just this immediate, like, change in her expression. And she'll kind of take a deep breath and a sip of the really gross stout, make a terrible face as usual, and kind of look up and be like, "You mean the ones who like to wear red?"
Yes, that would be correct.
No, of course, nothing, absolutely nothing is going on there. I mean, they never have reason to be upset.
I do hope that nothing untoward happens in the future to make them upset. They are such a calm group after all.
But loyal to a fault. And she's like just sort of staring at her drink at this point. And Rowlet, who, specifically Rowlet in this case, will kind of move up to her. You know how animals can kind of sense when something's wrong?
Yeah, I gotcha.
And Rowlet knew Ragnar, so it made more sense. So Rowlet, yes, kind of moving up to kind of looking at her to see, to see if she's okay, kind of thing.
Gotcha. She'll take a glance at Rowlet and then tilt her head to the side and say, "Is everything all right there, sir?"
Kind of opens one eye towards her because he is actually wearing the top hat. So,
Gotcha.
like in the picture, he does wear the top hat, and just says, "Rowlet," and then he'll like lift his top hat to her.
And she'll smile and say, "I suppose I should have seen that coming, but are you all right, Donna?"
The best, of course.
I do hope nothing has happened recently to upset you. You do seem to be a very chipper person. That would be the most unfortunate circumstance if that had happened.
Is it possible for someone to always be happy?
I suppose not.
She nods. Then I suppose this is where I say that just because I tend to be positive doesn't mean that I don't miss my friend.
And she tilts her head to the side and just says, "I'm sorry."
Me too. Wish I understood. But I'm about 99% sure that the thing to do with our red friends had to do with him.
Yeah, I see. Was it, in some people's opinion, the fault of the person who they may or may not have been angry at?
She just kind of tilts her head. You know how like you'll see like a bird kind of do that tilty head thing?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it looks particularly bird-like because puka do tend to do that.
Yeah.
And then kind of blinks for a second. I didn't think this was possible, but I think you actually confused me.
Well, I'm simply trying to understand, having no prior experience in the situation. I don't quite understand what happened to your friend, so...
And of course, my people are the best at telling truthful stories, don't you think?
Of course. And she smiles. It's not like a playful smile, it's just kind of like almost like an understanding smile. If that makes sense.
I get you. I mean, let's just say he attacked someone and wouldn't listen to reason for it to stop. And eventually, the only way to stop him, they tried less lethal versions of stopping him, and it didn't work. I tried to grab him and pull him back. He wouldn't stop, and someone else had to stop him. He was threatening another one of us. And as you know, that's against the rules. He was trying to kill another one of us.
I see. And she...
But it's not like him. It's not like him. I don't know what was going through his head.
She leans back, takes a sip of her beer, and says, That is a most difficult circumstance to go through. I am very sorry you had to go through that.
If it had to happen, I'm glad a friend was there to take care of it.
I suppose that is one way of looking at it.
She shrugs. I mean, I know exactly how I'm supposed to think of this, of course. But I would guess that our red friends who visited Manhattan probably heard what happened and were most likely told what happened. And that's probably why they came out okay.
I see. Whoever...
The person who killed him regretted it. He didn't want to do it. We both tried to stop him from doing what he was doing, and nothing would stop him.
She looks like she's about to say something, but then she stops and kind of closes her mouth, thinks for a minute, and says, That is not a burden that I imagine is easy to bear. I don't know if I can be of much assistance, but if you need any help, Donna, feel free to come and find me. I will be more than willing to help if you need it.
And how would I find someone like you?
And she takes a little, it's actually a business card. She takes a little business card out of her pocket and hands it over to Donna.
Wow, if you're going to make it so simple.
And it is a it is a nightclub, like business card for a nightclub called the Smashing Silence in Staten Island. And she says, I can usually be found here. If not, then the bartender usually knows where to find me.
No phone? I don't know if you heard me. She asked
Right?
no.
I didn't quite catch it.
Oh, she said no phone? And she kind of holds up hers.
I haven't had one since I had a rather bad experience with a fan finding my friends spam calling it. You know how mortals, and she says that word like lower than the others can be.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't had one. I haven't had a good reason to get another one.
She just nods because she's used to the Fae having, weird little quirks. If that's just how you choose to live your life, okay.
Right?
I mean, it's true, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah.
I mean, half the Sluo refuse to even pretend they exist. So yeah, she just sort of nods. And she'll kind of. I never did describe how she's dressed, but as a standard, she's usually wearing like cargo pants and like a hoodie and like probably a shirt underneath with pockets. She's just kind of loaded with pockets, basically.
Gotcha.
And so she's kind of rummages through one pocket, can't find what she's looking for clearly. Rummages through another one, probably on like the third pocket. She'll pull out a business card and offer it to her. And hers gives her name is Theodosia Shijik. Okay. And it says that she's a meteorologist, and it gives like the name of like a factory in Queens where she works. And so it has like the phone number and it also has her cell number on it.
Okay. And she'll take it and look it over, nod.
And she'll be like, use this one, as she points to the cell number.
And she'll nod and she'll say, that's quite an impressive job you have.
I guess. I may or may not be able to do a little convincing of the weather in as well, so it kind of works, I guess.
I see.
I'm not very good, but I eventually hopefully I'll be good eventually.
Always something to work for.
Exactly.
And I did have a favor to ask, actually.
We just met, and you're asking me favors. Are we friends?
I suppose that would be a word for it.
Huh. All right, well, we'll leave it there, and we can define that word a little better later.
That sounds good to me. Sorry.
No, you're good. Ask.
If you happen to run across a group of satyr, or she doesn't say satyrs, she says a group of people like me who seem lost or particularly confused, could you get a hold of me or direct them to me somehow? I'm looking for some old friends who disappeared recently.
Why would I ever be helpful like that?
And she chuckles.
What do you know of their disappearance?
Not much. The band was, taking off and they started getting distant, which is rather unusual for my people, as I'm sure you know. And then I woke up one day and they were gone.
No notes, no anything?
Nothing, which is what makes me suspicious.
She ponders this for a second and kind of looks at her and says, and they were like you say, right?
Yes, they were.
Well, there is another skill, as she does the air quotes, that I have that may be of use to you.
Oh?
Indeed. I am good at finding stuff, people, whatever.
So you're a Hufflepuff?
I always thought that I was a Ravenclaw, but I suppose Hufflepuff isn't so bad.
They do get a rather bad rap from people. That isn't deserved.
Well, I do volunteer in one of our libraries. I'm an assistant there. So I kind of do have the affinity for books required to be Ravenclaw.
Of course, I suppose it really just depends on which one you prefer to identify yourself with more.
You know what? I'll let you decide which one you think I am. But meanwhile, back to what I can do. I may have picked up a little, again with the air quotes, skill. Says the word skill in air quotes.
Mm-hmm.
To find something. And if you... The only thing I would ask for is the required fuel. As she looks like she's pondering words at this point to say what she's trying to say. The required fuel to do it. If you know what I mean.
I understand.
If you could come up with that, then I'm totally game. I don't need any extra, just enough to do the thing.
All right.
Because I'm willing to help. I just, you know what I mean? I'm tight on that.
Oh, I understand. Money's tight for everyone. And she kind of winks when she says that.
She just nods at this like, yes. Good, you're getting this.
Give me a few days to come up with that, and I'll get a hold of you. Also, I'd like to find someone who's a bit more skilled at and she kind of makes like a slashing motion with her hand, like she was holding a sword. I'm not particularly good at that, and their skills might be needed.
Pretty good with ranged weapons.
Those are always good, but in every game you need a tank.
Yes. Well, she kind of looks down at herself. I am not likely to ever be the tank. Or maybe I'm the most likely to be the tank. Who knows?
There are such a thing as what do they call them in Dark Souls? One of my old friends was really into that game. He would talk about it for hours, but a rolling tank or something like that, he called it. I don't know.
She just looks confused, takes another sip of the really horrible drink, makes another face. I don't know what that is.
Something to do with, like, not getting hit in the first place.
I mean, that's just smart. You don't get hit, you're not going to die.
And she laughs. And when she laughs, like it is actually a very, very pleasant sound because she does have voice of a songbird. So like when she laughs, it's actually a very pleasant sound. It's not like supernatural, like it sounds like bells tolling or anything like that. She has a very pleasant voice when she laughs.
Got it. Yeah, she'll just look slightly surprised, you know. But, you know, it's one of those like, oh, that's nice. And you move on.
Yeah. She's honestly probably met weirder, let's be real. Like people with weirder quirks.
I mean, maybe. Who knows? She's like, besides, if your friends are in any danger, we should do whatever we can to help them anyway. If there's some of us, right?
Exactly.
Because rules.
Rules are rules are rules. That is true.
Indeed. I know someone who is particularly good with weapons. I mean, he's at least definitely good with long range. He makes them. He's one of us that makes things.
Okay.
And my brother is also one of those that make things. Might be able to get him.
All right. Well, sounds like we have a plan then. Get some people together and get some money together and meet up and go on an adventure.
I just need a little money.
Of course.
Just one.
And she nods. But it would be wise to have some spare cash on hand.
Yes. I'm also in the process of trying to find money. It's a long-term job sometimes.
Oh, entirely. Especially with how bad the job market is now.
Hey, I have an amazing job. In fact, I have 2 amazing jobs.
Well, it's always good to have steady work.
Are you a book kind of person?
I enjoy reading. I've never been super big into it, but it's a fun thing and you can learn.
I was just going to say, I know. I mean, the library I work at, if you ever need to research things, you can come by sometime if I'm working. And I mean, there's a good chance that the person who owns it would let you, but she said okay. I could. She said I could bring people in if I wanted to.
And she nods and says, "Thank you." And then kind of thinks for a second. And then she kind of thinks for a second, realizing that remembering that Donna's a puka, and then she decides to trust her anyways. And she nods. She's not going to overthink this.
Yeah, so you never know if it's a truth or a lie, to be honest.
Yeah. But
so just
she's going to take the leap.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, well, just, get in touch with me if that's something you want to do.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you very much.
Knowledge is power. And she just nods this really big, big nod.
And Anastasia smiles and takes a big sip from her beer and says, "I don't even know why I ordered this. It tastes like fermented, or not even fermented, like old wheat. Ugh."
Oh, well, you should try mine. And she pushes it away like way faster than maybe she should.
She'll like reach down, like pick it up, take a sip of it, and then, or not take a sip. Sorry, I meant to say take like a sniff of it to like get the smell.
Yeah, it's like
she'll take a sip
of a bitter stout. Yeah, it's awful.
Okay, and can you roll me just a D10 to see how she likes it? Like from 1 to 10.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
1 second. Okay, for some reason my Discord did not come up today, so I'm going to do it on my phone. 1 moment.
Gotcha.
It's super lucky that like that Discord can be done on a phone as well.
Yeah, it is nice.
Because sometimes computers just don't like me. 8.
All right, so her eyes open really wide. She says, "Wow, this is great. I didn't think something that bitter smelling would taste this good, but wow, it's really good."
Well, you should totally not drink the rest of it.
Then she chuckles and says, "Mine's not much different. Well, I shouldn't say much different, but isn't much better. But if you'd like to have mine," she slides her beer across the table. Trade.
She shrugs. She figures it can't get any worse than that stout was. So she'll take it. And in that moment, she kind of misses Ragnar, because Ragnar would have just would have known exactly what was going on and would have gone up and gotten her a fantastically large margarita.
Aw.
Or, yeah, sorry. In that moment, she's just like, she gets like sort of look flits across her face.
Mm-hmm.
But she kind of hides it by grabbing at the drink to take a sip of it. And if there are grades of ooh faces, this is less of an ooh face.
Gotcha. So it's more tolerable.
Yes. She'd rather drink piss than really bitter, nasty things to her.
Yeah.
In her opinion. She sees it as that way. So.
I gotcha.
Yeah. And she'll just nod appreciatively. Thank you.
Of course. Of course. And she's gonna take a sip from the stout. And if it sounds good to you, that sounds like a pretty natural place to end it. If that's okay with you.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So, since you did the intro, I'll do the outro.
Okay.
So, thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, future watchers, for watching. This has been a scene in Living World of Darkness Changeling. Stay tuned for more, and remember, can never trust what a puka says, or can you?